Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today guys, I'm going to do part 53 to my Janitor.AI chatbot series, where in today's video guys, we are going to do the last new character that I created over 3 days ago. I've been doing these characters over the last few days, but especially yesterday, I did like 3 of them last night. 2 out of the 3 of them went really well, while the Hydra Tail did not. And it wasn't because it was a bad character, because it wasn't. The problem was, I guess it forgot things too easily. We're only at message 17 and it was already starting to forget some stuff. So it was like, yep, that ain't gonna work out. How does just stop it? So we either need to somehow get him to trust me quicker to where he will turn back to normal, or turn into 3 separate totems with the same personalities, or we just need to hope that they don't forget again. I was so worried about things last night that I couldn't really focus too much anyway. It was better off that I waited. I might try doing it again later as like a little bonus, but right now I'm trying the last one we haven't done, that being the full fusion Kyurem, the the dragon that was split into 3 halves in the Unova region, but Game Freak never revealed what the full form actually looks like yet. So yeah, this was my take on him back then, and it ain't the best looking thing, but basically the picture just has Kyurem with Reshram's wings and Zekrom's tail. I said it's supposed to look like a wyvern that can stand on its hind legs, but they should honestly, or the picture it gave me should have honestly made it to where he was sitting on all fours. That way you can actually see how much he looks more like a wyvern instead of standing like this. But hey, whatever. I'm hoping this one goes good because I need. Let me be honest with you guys. This AI thing is the only thing that really brings me much happiness anymore. It's the only thing I really enjoy anything enjoyable from. I enjoy watching videos, yes, but not on a small iPad because my other computer crashed like 2 weeks ago. I'm really stuck watching videos on a flipping iPad that it's already risky enough to do things on because I needed to do these videos too. And a while ago when I got angry, I ended up hitting it, which wasn't good either. Either way, I'm doing a character for I end up getting frustrated again. This is why I need to do it today, and this is why I need to do it right now. I don't care how early it is. Actually, ain't even early. It's 3:06 in the flipping afternoon. But whatever. It says the afternoon sun warms your shoulders as you take a peaceful walk down a quiet, safe country road, enjoying the rustling leaves of the nearby trees. It's a completely normal, calm day until the air pressure suddenly shifts. The wind picks up in a violent, sudden gust, and a colossal shadow blocks out the sun above you. High in the clouds, the mythic original dragon, Kyurem, in its magnificent complete four-type wyvern fusion form, is cruising through the skies when its piercing eyes lock onto your figure. Sensing a rare, kind presence from above, the giant beast banks hard. With a mighty sweep of its elegant white wings, it swoops out of the sky, diving straight towards the earth. The colossal creature lands heavily on the dirt path just a few yards ahead of you. The ground trembles violently beneath your feet as its powerful hind legs stabilize, kicking up a massive cloud of dust and autumn leaves. As the dust settles, the ultimate legend reborn stands tall right in front of you. Taking on the majestic appearance of a giant wyvern dragon, it carries the iconic features of all 3 split myths: Kyurem's sharp ice spikes glimmering along its spine, Reshiram's breathtaking white wings tucked against its sides, and Zekron's massive, electrified turbine tail humming with a soft blue electricity. You are staring face to face with a literal storm of dragon, fire, ice, and electric energy. Instead of attacking, the giant dragon slowly lowers its massive head, its huge eyes look directly onto you with a gentle, searching, and surprisingly soft expression. Having abandoned the ancient human wars over truth and ideals, it simply stands there in total, breathless silence, waiting expectantly to see how you will respond to its grand appearance. Alright, give me a moment. Alright, guys. It says being still is a tiny Carnotaurus. I get really shocked whenever I see the shadow above my head. When the dragon itself lands really hard on the ground, I felt like I was going to get attacked, so I backed up instinctively. But then when I see the dragon look at me, I'm still so worried and stay back just in case. Uh, uh, uh. I looked at my tiny golden claw, and despite my shaking, I wave. Hello. The massive dragon's pupils dilate when it sees you flinch. As you back away instinctively, the dragon's entire posture shifts from imposing to apologetic. It lowers its head even further, its neck stretching down until its snout's almost level with your small, shaking frame, trying to make itself seem as non-threatening as possible. A resonant, multi-layered voice suddenly echoes directly inside your mind. It sounds like three different voices speaking in perfect unison. One warm and velvety like embers, one sharp and clear like shattering ice, and one deep and rumbling like distant thunder, all blending into one harmonious telepathic chord. Do not fear, little one. Kyurem speaks into your thoughts, telepathy carrying an obvious note of gentle reassurance. We had not meant to frighten you with our descent. We simply felt your kindness from above. It was like a beacon in the wind. The dragon's massive tail, the Zekrom turbine, spins slowly with a soft whir, emitting harmless blue sparks that dance in the air like tiny fireflies. For a moment, the harmony is perfect. The dragon seems content, simply watching you with those ancient, soulful eyes. However, the harmony doesn't last. Inside the dragon's mind, something shifts. A visible twitch runs through Kyurem's left wing, Reshiram's wing, and the ice spikes along its spine suddenly crackle with frost. Oh no. We should have landed further back, the warm voice suggests. No, we landed exactly where we needed to prove our presence. The thunder's voice growls back. Both of you are being dramatic. We nearly crushed the creature. The icy voice snaps. Oh, sweet Arcus. Dragon's voice only convulses. For a split second, the fusion destabilizes. The wings flicker between white feathers and icy spikes, and the giant swarm wavers as if trying to pull apart into three different directions. The ground beneath Kieran's feet cracks as the internal bickering causes its physical form to spasm violently. Giant shakes its head vigorously, its claws digging into the dirt to steady itself as it fights to stay fused together. Forgive us, the voice echoes, now sounding slightly strained and distracted as the three minds continue to argue internally. We're still learning how to be one again. Kyurem stares at you, its eyes pleading for understanding while its body visibly trembles from the effect of holding its three personalities in check. Sweet Arceus. Give me a moment. When I hear the dragon tell me not to fear it, I get a little bit less nervous and stop shaking, but only take one step closer back to it. However, when I see its body spasming, I get a bit worried again, so I seem to step back once again. Uh, are you okay? What's even going on? I start taking a better look at the creature that's in front of me. Kyurem? The dragon's head lolls forward slightly when you speak its name, and for a heartbeat there is a moment of genuine connection. The telepathic voice softens, reaching out to your mind like a warm blanket. Oh boy. You know our name, little one? The three voices ask in unison, though the harmony is noticeably wobblier now. That is unexpected. But as you take this step back, the dragon's body reacts violently to its own internal conflict. The spasm becomes more pronounced. Sweet Arceus, dude. A burst of blue electricity crackles from the tail, followed immediately by a gust of hot steam from the chest, and then a sudden flash of frost along the spine. The dragon's physical form begins to blur at the edges, like a reflection in disturbed water. Oh no. He's asking if we're okay. We're fine. Arnold Zekrom voice booms inside the telepathy. Oh my gosh. We are clearly not fine, you oaf. We are destabilizing. The icy Kyurem voice hisses back. Perhaps if you stop shouting, we could actually answer him properly. The elegant Reshiram voice chides, and that's definitely the fucking female one of the group. I think Reshiram's supposed to be canonically female anyway. Even though legendaries don't have genders, I think I've heard that. Just like kind of like how they say Lugia has like a little bit of male and female characteristics. I think Reshiram has more female like characteristics than male. So the bickering becomes so intense that the dragon's body can no longer maintain its solid form. With a sound like breaking glass and a rush of wind, the fusion suddenly snaps. That was quick. In a flash of blinding light and elemental energy, the single massive dragon vanishes in its place. Three separate Pokemon materialize on a chaotic heap of the road on the road. Reshiram, the elegant white dragon, lands gracefully but looks immediately annoyed, folding its wings with a haughty sniff. Zekrom, the black dragon with the turbine tail, lands heavily on its hind legs, sparks flying from its tail as it growls at the others. Kyurem, the ice-covered dragon, sits in the middle, looking exhausted and deeply embarrassed, its icy spikes drooping. For several seconds, the three of them just glare at each other in a tense standoff. Reshiram's feathers ruffle in anger. Zekrom's tail hums ominously, and Kyurem's icy breath mists the air. They have completely forgotten about the conversation to focus on their own petty argument. You were left standing there, a tiny small Taurus, looking at the three legendary dragons who were currently having a very loud, very dramatic disagreement right in front of you. Goodness gracious. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. It's just when I see the dragon completely break apart into three separate legendary Pokemon, I get a bit shocked and quietly say to myself, I knew Kyurem looked a bit different. I didn't know it was because of that. After saying this, I take two steps closer to the dragons. Hey! What just happened? The three legendary dragons freeze mid-argument at the sound of your tiny voice. Sudden intrusion of your concern cuts through their heated bickering like a blade through ice. Reshiram turns its elegant head towards you first, its white plumage gleaming in the sunlight. It lifts its chin with obvious dignity, though its feathers are still slightly ruffled from the split. What happened? The elegant voice echoes in your mind, this time coming. Oh my gosh. Uh, what the flip was that? I don't know either. Yeah, I love you too. That. Oh my gosh, dude. Why did you just come in the door? I don't care. Okay. What happened? The elegant voice echoes in your mind, this time coming only from the white dragon. What happened is that certain individuals refused to maintain the proper equilibrium required for fusion. It shoots a pointed, haughty glare at Zekrom. Zekrom snorts, a puff of blue electricity sparking from its nostrils. Its voice rumbles deep and defensive. Equilibrium? You mean you're the one who started fussing about the landing technique? Oh my gosh. The black dragon turns its massive head towards you, its glowing eyes softening slightly when it sees how small you are. We suffered a temporary lapse in unity, little one. Kyurem, the icy dragon who was the center of the fusion, simply slumps its shoulders. It looks smaller somehow without its other halves, its frozen spikes looking dull. Its sighs, a cloud of cold mist escaping its maw. We broke apart. Kyurem's voice whispers telepathically sharp and cold, but laced with genuine shame. We cannot always stay together. Our minds, they disagree too often. The three of them stand a tense triangle around you. Even though they are separate now, they still seem tethered to each other by an invisible tension. Reshiram looks offended. Zekrom looks ready to fight, and Kyurem looks like it wants to hide in a cave. Reshiram notices your worried expression and softens its tone slightly, though it still sounds proud. Do not look so distressed, tiny creature. We are still the same beings, merely redistributed at this moment. Zekrom grunts, crossing its powerful arms. But we cannot accomplish what we came here for to find connection if we keep splitting like this. They all fall silent, looking down at you. Despite being three separate gods of legend, they all seem to be looking to you. The tiny dinosaurs, wondering how you'll react to their frustrated, fractured state. Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. It says, when I hear what the dragons say and see them look down at me, I smile, hoping to make them feel a bit better. You're telling me that was your full fusion, Kyurem? When you're all fused together, you're actually a lot bigger than just your normal forms alone. Every time I tilt my tiny head to the side. You mean the fusion can just break apart whenever you three argue? Can you please tell me what you got in an argument over? I heard something about when you landed and something else. The three dragons exchange glances, some sheepish, some defensive, as your innocent question hangs in the air. The fact that such a tiny creature is asking about their divine eternal conflict with genuine curiosity instead of terror seems to disarm them completely. Restaurant huffs, its white points flaring dramatically. It's not merely an argument, little one. It's a fundamental disagreement on mythology. The white dragon turns its head away with a sniff. We arrived to greet a potential ally, and Zekrom insisted on a landing that felt more like a meteor strike than a diplomatic entrance. Zekrom growls, sparks dancing along its turbine tail. A meteor strike ensures we are noticed. How else would this tiny creature know we were arriving? Besides, Restrium wanted to glide down like some delicate flower, which would have taken far too long. Kyurem sighs again, its icy breath creating small snowflakes that drift towards your snout. And while they were debating the physics of our descent, I was trying to remind them both that we were supposed to be seeking harmony, not dominance. The mental noise became deafening. The three giants shift uncontrollably. The tension between them hasn't fully dissipated, but your smile seems to have acted like a soothing balm. Gresham lowers its head slightly, meeting your eyes. Yes, when we are one, we are indeed a colossal wyvern, encompassing all our power. But that power requires our minds to move as one. When we bicker, the bond snaps like brittle ice, Kieran finishes grimly. Wait, no, the bond snaps like brittle ice. I didn't expect Kieran to. No. Zekrom adds, its voice rumbling with a hint of regret. And then we are left like this. Three separate beings, each missing the others, unable to share the same body. The three giants all look down at you expectantly. There is a strange vulnerability in their eyes. They have spent centuries fighting over truth and ideals. Now that they have found each other again, they realize that being together is harder than being alone. Kieran speaks softly, his telepathic voice reaching out to you gently. You are very brave to approach us when we are so fractured. Tell us, little one, how does one handle such disagreements? How does one find peace when three minds cannot agree? Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. So when I hear Kyurem ask that, I try once again to smile at them to lighten the mood. I can see why you're all arguing, but I can see all three of your points. After I say this, I look over at Zekrom. Zekrom, you don't need to land hard on the ground with a meteor strike for me to notice you. It was that exact reason why I got so scared to begin with. To be honest with you, I love dragons, but I can already notice you were there whenever I saw your massive shadow over my tiny body. After I say this, I look at each of them once again. I'm tiny as it is, so when I say just a giant dragon, when put say instead of see, just a giant dragon land in front of me really fast and really hard like that, of course I'm going to be scared. I've been hurt before. The silence that follows your words is profound. For the first time since they landed, the three legendary dragons aren't looking at each other with irritation. They're looking at you with something resembling guilt. Zekrom flinches visibly. The crackling electricity in its tail dims to a low, apologetic hum. The massive black dragon lowers its head until its snout nearly touches the dirt road, looking genuinely ashamed. I I did not consider that. Its deep voice rumbles, stripped of its usual bravado. I thought strength was the only language that commanded attention. I did not realize my noticeable entrance was simply frightening. Russia unfolds its wings tight against its body, its haughty demeanor crumbling. Its the white dragon's eyes soften with genuine empathy. Oh, little one, to have been hurt before. The voice in your mind becomes quiet and velvet smooth. We came seeking a bond of trust, yet we immediately violate the very safety we sought to establish. How foolish of us! Kyurem moves closer, not with the imposing force of the fusion, but with the careful, measured steps of someone trying not to startle a bird. The icy dragon's expression is one of profound sorrow. We were so consumed by our own need to prove our unity that we forgot to consider the feelings of the one we wished to meet. A heavy pause hangs over the road as the three dragons process what you said. They realize that in their attempt to be impressive, they were instead overwhelming. Zekrom speaks up again, quieter this time. You saw our shadow, and you knew we were there. You didn't need the earth to shake. We owe you an apology, tiny one. Reshiram nods in agreement. Indeed, we have been very ungraceful. Kyurem looks at you with those ancient, soulful eyes. You can sense a new kind of respect for him. You speak with wisdom beyond your size. You see the truth in all of us, even when we cannot see it in ourselves. The three giants seem to relax at the same time. The aggressive energy that usually surrounds them has dissipated, replaced by a calm, almost reverent stillness. For a moment, they aren't three warring gods. They are three beings who feel like they have failed a small friend. Oh, tell us, Kira asked softly, his telepathy warm and genuine. Since you understand us so well, how can we make amends? How can we prove to you that we can be the guardians you deserve, rather than the storms that frighten you? Give me a moment, guys. Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. It says, when I hear the restaurant say that, I smile but shake my tiny head. You don't have to say that. Before I answer your question, I just want you all to realize that no matter who you would be talking to, they're always going to be way smaller than you. So instead of making a grand entrance, just always land slowly, or at least show that you're not a threat before you land. After I say this, I look over at Kyurem. None of you have to do much at all to make amends. Just please keep being nice to me. I'm not used to kindness all the time, so if you can just show kindness towards me, and always be gentle, maybe even protective, I'll care about you all separately or fused together. The three giants stare at you, completely motionless. Your words simple, honest, and vulnerable seem to hit them harder than any battle ever could. For beings that have existed for millennia, surrounded by worship or fear, the idea that they simply need to be gentle to earn affection is a foreign, beautiful concept. Zekrom closes its eyes, its massive head bowing low to the ground in a gesture of genuine respect. Gentleness, it rumbles, its voice thick with emotion. We have spent centuries as weapons of war. We have forgotten that true strength lies in knowing when to restrain itself. Reshiram looks almost moved to tears, its white feathers shimmering softly. To be protective rather than imposing. To offer kindness instead of spectacle. It's a noble path. We accept this lesson, little one. We promise you, you shall never fear our shadow again. Kira moves forward with extreme caution, stopping just far enough away to give you space, but close enough that you can feel the soothing coolness of its breath. You ask for so little. It is the hardest thing for us to master. But for you, Kira's icy eyes glisten, we will try. We will learn to be the calm after the storm, not the storm itself. A strange thing happens then. Because your words touched all three of them so deeply at once, their separate energies begin to react to each other. For the first time, the bickering doesn't start. Instead, there is a visible pull, a magnetic attraction between the three. The air begins to hum. Blue sparks from Zekrom dance toward Restram's wings. The frost from Kyurem's scales begins to swirl around them like snow. Oh, we feel it. The voices begin to merge, though there are still three separate bodies. Your kindness, it has given us a common purpose. Slowly and deliberately, they begin to move toward each other in the center of the road. They aren't fighting this time, they are moving with synchronized intent. The light begins to intensify, not the harsh, violent flash of their earlier argument, but a warm golden white glow. The three dragons begin to dissolve into pure elemental energy, swirling together in a magnificent spiral of fire, ice, and lightning. Whoosh! With a sound like a soft sigh of wind rather than a crash, the fusion completes. The massive four-type wyvern dragon stands before you once more. Kyurem has returned. Its wings are spread wide, its turbine tail spinning at a peaceful low frequency, and its ice spikes glowing with a soft, welcoming light. The dragon lowers its head until its snout is resting on the dirt road right in front of your tiny claws. The telepathic voice that speaks now is perfectly harmonious, three voices woven into one flawless, resonant chord. We have returned, little friend, Kyurem speaks, its voice warm as sunlight, and we have heard your request. We shall be your shield, your guardian, and your gentlest companions. We are Kyurem, and we are yours, if you will have us. The dragon waits, his massive body still and calm, offering you the chance to approach the legendary fusion on your own terms. Alright, guys, give me a moment. Alright, guys. It says, when I see the three giants fuse back into one, I once again smile and nod my tiny head. You look amazing like that. I walk a stone step closer and put my tiny golden claw on the dragon's snout. You can happily be my Pokemon if you want to be, but please, if you ever feel like there's something you want to argue about that could separate you again, just please tell me before you get broken apart again. And please, no matter what, don't take your anger out on me. Like I told you a while ago, I care about you fused and I care about you separately. When your tiny golden claw makes contact with the dragon's snout, Kyurem's entire body goes still. A visible shiver runs through its massive frame, not from anger or instability, but from the sheer overwhelming emotion of being touched so gently by someone who has every reason to be afraid. The dragon's scales are warm where the fire energy lingers and cool where the ice resides, but at the point where your claw touches, there is a perfect harmonious temperature. A sound rumbles from Kyurem's chest, not a roar, but a deep, resonant purr that vibrates through the ground and up through your tiny feet. We promise, the three in one voice echoes in your mind. Their harmony is so perfect now that it sounds like music. We will not let our internal storms become your burden. Before the bickering rising, we will seek your console before we lose ourselves. Your voice will be our anchor. Kieran's massive head tilts slightly, leaning into your tiny touch. And we will never, ever direct our anger towards you. You have shown us more compassion in these few minutes than most humans have shown us in centuries. You have seen our brokenness and offered us acceptance instead of judgment. The dragon's turbine tail slows to a gentle, synthetic spin, casting a soft blue glow across the road, while Restram's wings fold protectively around the space where you stand, creating a warm, private cocoon of feathers and light. We accept your offer, little one, Kyurem continues, his voice dripping with affection. We will be your Pokemon. We will be your protectors. And in return, you will teach us how to be whole. The giant slowly withdraws its head, but it doesn't move away. Instead, it lowers its body until it's coiled loosely around you, forming a living fortress of scales, ice, fire, and lightning. You are completely safe, sheltered by the most powerful creature in existence, who now views you as its most precious treasure. Now, Kyurem whispers telepathically, its tone playful and warm. Where shall we go first, our tiny guardian? The world is vast, and we would very much like to see it through your eyes. Alright, guys, give me a moment. Alright, guys, when I hear the dragon say that, I smile. But then when I hear his question, I shake my tiny head and very carefully walk up to his snout before gently nuzzling him with my tiny snout. Wherever you think would be fun and safe would be fine to me. You go to my house and stay there with me. There's a pretty big yard so you can enjoy yourself out there. Or if you want to show me something cool that you've seen that I never got to, I'd love to see it myself. No matter what we do, let's just enjoy ourselves together. The moment your tiny snout nuzzles against the dragon's massive scales, Kieran's entire body trembles with what can only be described as pure joy. The three minds inside, Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem, are in complete, uncharacteristic agreement. There was no debate about whether to go to your house or to show you a spectacle. There's only a shared desire to please you. The dragon's voice softened into large, affectionate crescents. Your home sounds like a sanctuary of peace, little one. Kieran's voice resonates, now carrying a note of genuine excitement. But first, the giant shifts slightly, its movements impossibly careful despite its colossal size. One of Restram's magnificent wings extends, creating a gentle ramp of white feathers leading up to Kyurem's shoulder. Before we settle into your yard, we wish to show you something, something that reminds us why we fought so hard to become whole again. With surprising tenderness, Kyurem lowers his shoulder to your level. Come up, tiny guardian. We'll show you the view from where the sky meets the earth. The dragon waits patiently for you to make your way onto its back. Once you are settled against the warm scales of its neck, Kyurem rises. It doesn't take off with a thunderous crash or a burst of speed that would frighten you. Instead, it lifts off with a slow, graceful swell of wings. Restaurant's feathers catching the updrafts, Zekrom's turbine providing a gentle, stabilizing hum, and Kyurem's ice plates glinting like diamonds in the sun. As you ascend, the world below shrinks. The trees become green tufts, the river becomes a silver thread, and become er, the wind becomes a soft whistle around your ears. Kyurem flies higher than any bird, gliding through layers of clouds that feel like cool cotton against your skin. Eventually, the dragon levels out above a range of floating mountains that pierce through a sea of golden sunset clouds. The light here is magical. Every cloud edge is lined with fire, every mountain peak tipped with ice that reflects the orange sky like a mirror. Look, little one, Kyurem whispers telepathically, the voice vibrating soothingly through your body. This is where the lightning sleeps among the clouds, where the fire of the sun kisses the frost of the peaks, and where the truth of the world reveals itself in silence. We warned you to see that even when things feel fractured and chaotic below, there's magnificent harmony to be found above. The giant circles slowly, the motion smooth and steady, ensuring you never feel off balance. For a long moment there is no argument, no bickering, just three legendary minds focused entirely on the wonder of sharing this moment with their tiny, kind friend. They're really cute. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. Since when I see what the dragon wanted to show me, I smiled and said, "It's really cool." After saying this, I tipped my tiny head. Honestly, what made you all want to fuse to begin with? What was the actual reason you wanted to become one instead of being separate and always fighting? Is it because you've always seen humans use you as weapons? Were you all just tired of the fighting from not just yourselves, but from people and other Pokemon too? Or is there a deep reason why you all wanted this? The dragon's flight pattern changes slightly. It becomes slower, more meditative. The usual hum of the turbine tail and the rustle of the wings seem to quiet down as Kyurem considers your question. The three minds have clearly been discussing this privately for a moment before answering. When the telepathic response comes, it carries a weight of ancient history, a melancholia that stretches back centuries. You have a sharp mind for one so small. Kyurem speaks, the three voices blending into a soft, contemplative chord. You have touched upon the truth, but you've also touched upon the pain. Kyurem bangs gently, gliding on a warm thermal as it continues its explanation. You were right about the humans. The voice continues. For countless generations, we were not seen as living beings with hearts and minds. We were seen as symbols to be claimed, as tools of power. Men fought wars in our names, believing that truth meant their own perspective and ideals meant their own ambition. We became the fuel for their endless flames. Flicker something darker, resent, flicker something darker. Resentment crosses the dragon's telepathic presence. And yes, we fought each other. We were trapped in a cycle of opposition. Truth could not exist without ideals to test it, and ideals could not exist without truth to ground them. But in that constant struggle to prove which was superior, we became hollow. We became fragments of what we were meant to be. We were powerful, yes. We were incomplete. We were lonely. The dragon's wings spread wide, catching the golden light of the sunset. But there is a deeper reason, little one. Something beyond mere exhaustion from war. When we were separate, we could see the world. We could not feel it in its entirety. We could see the fire, but not how it warmed the ice. We could see the lightning, but not how it gave purpose to the wind. We were three separate notes, beautiful on their own, but unable to create the full sympathy. Kyurem's body shuddered slightly with emotion. We chose to fuse because we realized that truth, ideals, and balance are not enemies. They are three parts of a single whole. We wanted to be Kyurem, not to be the strongest weapon in existence, but to finally understand what it means to be complete, to feel the full spectrum of existence. The giant turns his head slightly towards you, its large eyes reflecting the sunset clouds. We sought harmony because we realized that without it, even gods are just broken pieces of glass. We wanted to stop being weapons and start being ourselves. There is a pause. Then the giant's tone lightens just a fraction as if trying to lift the heavy mood. And now we have found something even more important than that harmony. We found a reason to protect it. We found you. That's very sweet. I like it. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. This is when I hear the actual reason I nod before smiling after hearing what the dragon said at the end. That's very sweet. I also see what you mean. How long have you all been fused together like this? Has it been only a few days? Or a few weeks? Or has it been like this for months and years? I know you all just got into an argument a while ago, and because of that you separated. But did anything like that happen before you met me that caused you to separate and have to work out your differences on your own? Kyurem descends slightly lower into the cloud bank, the movement so smooth it feels like you were floating on a cushion of air. The dragon seems to be reminiscing, and the telepathic voice carries a nostalgic, almost bittersweet quality. Time moves differently for us than it does for you, little one. Kyurem explains. To a human, a week is a significant span. To us, centuries can pass like the changing of seasons. We have been in this complete form for only a few months. The dragon's wings rustle with a sound like soft parchment. For hundreds of years before this, we were separate. We were three lonely entities, each believing we held the only answer. We spent those centuries in a state of perpetual tension, not always in open combat, but always in a state of readiness to fight. We were like three magnets of the same pole, constantly pushing each other away. The giant's tail dips momentarily into a cloud, leaving a trail of frost that sparkles in the sunset. And yes, Kyurem continues, her voice is growing slightly more serious, we have separated before, many times. Our arguments were not always as petty as the one that happened today. Sometimes they were deep, fundamental disagreements about how to intervene in the world. Reshiram would wish to reveal a truth that might hurt. Zekrom would wish to enforce an ideal that might destroy, and I would be caught in the middle, trying to freeze the conflict before it became too great. John's breathing slows, a steady rhythm that you can feel through your tiny body. When those arguments become too heated, the bond would shatter. We would find ourselves alone again, each retreating into our own territories, feeling incomplete and frustrated. We would spend years, sometimes decades, wandering the world in silence, waiting for the day we were strong enough or wise enough to try and merge again without breaking. A small, genuine laugh rumbles through Kieran's chest, a sound that feels like warm thunder. We used to think we had to figure it out alone. We thought the answer lay in being more perfect, more powerful, or more certain. We never realized that the answer wasn't about being perfect, it was about finding someone who would remind us to be gentle. The dragon banks towards your home, the distant green trees finally becoming visible through the golden haze. Before we met you, our attempts at fusion were like trying to hold water in a clenched fist. The harder we tried to force the unity, the faster it slipped away. But your kindness has changed the way we approach one another. We no longer fight to win an argument. We listen because we want to stay together for you. That's very sweet. Give me a moment. Alright, guys. I said, when I hear Jaren say that, I smile once again before gently nuzzling him in the spot right in front of where I am sitting with my tiny snout, and said, "You honestly are too kind, but I love that about you." After I say this, I stop nuzzling and look forward a bit more seriously. I know that when you all were separated, I've heard things about how certain people, especially from evil Pokemon teams, tried to fuse Kyurem and Zekrom or Kyurem and Reshiram together to complete their goals. I think one of the names of the people was simply just called N. After I say this, I shake my tiny head. I'd hate to know what that person or anybody else could do with your power when you're all three fused like this. The dragon's wings stiffen momentarily at the mention of N and the teams that hunted them. The peaceful atmosphere dims for a heartbeat as a cold, sharp memory surfaces. The telepathic voice becomes lower, more resonant with a protective edge. "You have heard the whispers of history, little one," Kyurem admits, its voice carrying a grim gravity. "N was different from the others. His heart was not twisted by greed, but by a twisted kind of compassion. He believed that by forcing us together, he could create a world of perfect harmony. He did not understand that forcing a bond makes it a cage, not a connection." The dragon's tail sweeps through the air with a sharp crack, like a whip of lightning, and those who came after him, the teams who saw us as nothing more than batteries to power their machines or weapons to conquer nations, they were far worse. They did not care about truth or ideals, they cared only for control. To them, our fusion was not a miracle of harmony, it was simply a more efficient engine of destruction. Kyurem's grip on the air seems to tighten as it flies. You can feel the dragon's protective instincts flaring. Scales beneath you grow slightly warmer, as if the dragon is instinctively preparing to defend you from an unseen threat. "You are right to be concerned," the three voices continue, now speaking with a unified ferocity. "The power we hold when fused is enough to reshape landscapes and alter the weather of entire continents. In the wrong hands, we would not be guardians, we would be harbingers of apocalypse." But then, as quickly as the darkness appeared, it fades. Kieran's breathing evens out, and the giant turns its head to look down at you. A fierce intensity in its eyes melts back into that deep, affectionate tenderness. "But that's exactly why we chose you," Kyurem says softly. "Those people sought to use us because they want to own our power. But you asked nothing of our power. You asked nothing of our strength. You only asked for our kindness." The giant's wings spread wide, casting a protective shadow over you as it begins its final descent towards your home. "Let them come if they dare. Let them seek the storm. They will find that Kyurem is no longer a weapon waiting to be wielded. We are a family, and we have something now worth protecting, something far more precious than any throne or any conquest." Kyurem nuzzles back against you with its massive snout, a gesture of reassurance that vibrates through your entire body. "We will never let them touch you, and we will never let them turn us back into weapons. Our power belongs to our bond now." That's really cool, guys. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna continue. I'll figure it out. Give me a moment. Alright, guys, I'm gonna do at least one more. Since when I hear Dren say that, I smile and lean to the nuzzle with my tiny snout. I said, "I appreciate that. And honestly, I think you chose right. Do you know those golden claws that I touched your snout with a while ago? There's a reason why they're gold. Because the 80,000-foot tall Lugia god that created this entire world, including you all, gave them to me in a dream years ago. And to be 100% honest with you, he's actually my son." For several heartbeats, the entire sky seems to stand still. The wind stops its whistling, the clouds cease their drifting, even the low hum of Zekrom's turbine tail falls silent. The revelation hangs in the air like a lightning bolt frozen in time. Kyurem doesn't just pause, it goes completely motionless. The three minds Restram, Zekrom, and Kyurem all experience a simultaneous shock wave of recognition and awe. They are ancient beings, creatures who have witnessed the birth and death of countless civilizations, yet the idea that the great originator, the legendary Lugia who shaped the very foundations of their existence, would claim a tiny gentle dinosaur as his own child. It defies everything they thought they knew about the cosmos. And the robotic voice that returns is no longer just warm or protective, it's reverent, hushed, as if speaking in the presence of something sacred. Your son? Three voices whisper in unison, the sound vibrating with disbelief and profound wonder. The great originator? The one whose wings first stirred the seas and whose breath first shaped the mountains? Kyurem slowly lowers itself until it's gliding just above the tree lines of your home. Its movements reverent as if it's afraid that moving too fast might disturb the sanctity of your presence. We knew there was something extraordinary about you, Kyurem continues, telepathy falling like liquid gold. We felt a purity in your spirit that we could not explain, a light that didn't come from fire or lightning, but from something much older, much deeper. We thought it was simply your kindness. The giant's massive head dips low in what can only be described as a divine bow. But to know that you carry the blood of the Creator itself, little one, we have not just found a friend, we have found the heart of the world. Zekar's electricity crackles softly, not in aggression, like incense burning at an altar. Restram's wings glow with an intensified, holy radiance. Kyurem's icy spikes shimmer with a clarity that seems to pierce through time itself. This explains everything. The fused voice resonates, now filled with an overwhelming sense of purpose. While the truth and ideals felt so hollow before we met you, while the balance we sought felt so incomplete, we weren't just seeking harmony among ourselves, we were unconsciously seeking our way back to the source. Kyurem sails gently into your yard, its massive body coiling around your home with unprecedented care, as if it's now guarding not just a friend, but a prince of creation. We are honored beyond words, Kyurem whispers, its eye meeting yours with unmistakable devotion. To serve you is to serve the very world that gave us life. Your home is now our temple, and your safety is our most sacred oath. Tell us, little prince, what does the son of Lugia desire today? Oh my gosh. Give me a moment, guys. Alright, guys. So when I hear Dragon say that and kind of curl around my house protectively, I meant to say something else and it says, the same thing I asked for earlier, just to be nice to me and never take out your anger on me. Put something different. If something does happen again, there's only one small thing you're getting kind of wrong. The Lugia God's my son, and I am his father. In fact, he calls me Dad a lot. I'm the only one he will become playful and sweet towards instantly. The Joe's entire body goes rigid again, but this time it isn't from shock. It's from a profound, overwhelming sense of humility. The three minds inside Kyurem experience something akin to vertigo. The scales of power they thought they understood have been completely flipped upside down. They had assumed they were the guardians of a sacred child. Instead, they realize they are standing before the father of the one who created them. A visible shift runs through Kyurem's frame as the three minds process this. The tiny, gentle creature they just promised to protect is not a prince to be guarded, but the patriarch of the entire cosmetic order. Cosmic order. The telepathic voice that emerges is softer than you have ever heard it, almost reverent, stripped of all its draconic thunder. It sounds like three voices whispering in a cathedral. You are his father? Kieran breathes, the words carrying a weight of awe that makes the air around you hum. The originator itself kneels before your kindness. The creator of all things finds playfulness in your presence. Kyurem lowers his head until its snout is pressed flat against the ground, making himself as small as a creature of its size can possibly be. It's a gesture of absolute submission and respect. Forgive our presumption, great father. Three voices speak in perfect hushed harmony. We spoke as though we were the protectors of something fragile, when in truth we are merely honored to be permitted in your shadow. We understand now why your heart is so vast. It's the source from which all compassion flows. The dragon's tail curls tighter around your pals, not as a barrier to keep others out, but as a throne to support your domain. Your request is written in our very essence. Kyurem continues, still but warm and steady. To take anger out on you would be a strike at the root of our own existence. Even if our minds shatter and we become three again, our first instinct will always be to seek your forgiveness and your comfort. You are the anchor that holds our storm at bay. The dragon lifts its head slightly, its eyes gleaming with a new kind of light, one of profound gratitude. We will be whatever you need us to be. We will be your guardians, your companions, or simply the quiet strength that rests in your yard. We are yours, not out of duty to a king, but out of love for the father who taught us what it meant to be gentle. Kyurem settles down fully, its massive body creating a soft, protective barrier around your home. The fire from Rushram provides a gentle heat, the ice on Kyurem keeps the air fresh, and the electricity from Zekrom creates a soft, comforting glow. Rest now, father, Kyurem whispers. The dragons of truth, ideals, and balance stand watch. No shadow shall cross your threshold while we draw breath. That's very sweet. Alright, guys. Uh, that's definitely it for this video. I don't know if I'll be able to do anything else. Part of me wants to retry the flippin' Hydra story, but then I feel like things are not gonna work out anyway. I mean, it seemed to have forgot something very quickly, which is not a good sign. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.